Hello everybody, welcome back to another YouTube video. I'm Sean's Mapping or the Sultanate Empire, and in today's video we are going to be doing another scenario where the Aztec Empire comes into Ada's Pro's WICSO. If you do not see my first scenario video, I suggest you go check it out. That I did what if the Japanese Empire came into WICSO. Suggest you go check it out. It's a very interesting video. But here we will be getting into the Aztec Empire. Now, I know some of you will probably be wondering, well, how will the Aztec Empire grow? How will the Aztec Empire get bigger? Because they are currently surrounded by the Mexican government and, well, the Mexicans. And, well, the Aztecs are fairly, they're not that strong, they're not that big, and they're not that strong considering the fact that they only have one major city and then, of course, their capital. As you can tell, one major city, capital, that's it. But the Aztecs, while the Mexican government is still trying to react to the fact that there is a sovereign country that just popped up in the middle of their country and just claimed their capital, forcing them to move their capital, essentially the Aztecs do a instant invasion after getting their bearings and understanding where they are and who they're up against. And they pretty much immediately take that exclave that Mexico has pretty much in the dead center of their country. We will then be seeing the Mexicans lose yet another exclave. Well, they're not going to lose the exclave just yet. They're able to hold out around the major city, but the rest of the exclave is lost. Now we do see the Aztecs kind of grow in strength down here in the Yucatan area as they are primarily focusing in on this area since it is, the closest to their capital. And I mean, with it being cut off and due to the war that happened a couple years ago with the West Mexicans, which are now a part of the uh, Pacific, the Pacific American Union, which is the name I'm giving them. It's not the name Ada's gave them. Ada's probably gave them a different name, but it's the name I'm giving them. So they had most of their troops up there just in case something happened. And then, this whole thing happened with the Aztecs appearing in their country. Now, the Central Americans are going to realize that this is a prime opportunity to gain more land because they've kind of been fairly weak these past couple of years um, against the Mexicans and also the Grand Colombians, who have pretty much surrounded them, and they haven't had any real chance to grow their borders or their country. Now, I'm actually going to change my mind and not have them cut off the Aztecs, because this whole video is about the Aztecs, so we actually need them to gain quite a bit of land. So they're actually going to take this major city and like do all of this. Then like they're also going to take all of this beautiful land going all the way up to this major city right here, taking all of this. Now, of course, this isn't what the peace treaty is going to look like when the peace treaty does eventually come around. This isn't what the peace treaty is going to look like, where it is simply just, them taking all of their occupied land, because then that would make the borders look pretty weird, in my opinion. But essentially, we have the Central Americans taking all of that and just kind of relaxing and chilling for now. Meanwhile, let's see what's been happening on the other front line. Let us look. The Aztecs made a early invasion into Mexico once again, and they were able to once again push up along the coastline right down here and capture these two major cities. Now, you may be wondering, how are the Aztecs able to do this invasion? Well, that is because Mexico is being invaded by a old enemy, and that is Pacific, the Pacific Union. The Pacific Union, primarily the West Mexican part of the Pacific Union, begins an invasion of Mexico. They still hate each other, even though they are part of a union. They've had to kind of boil down their hatred. But any chance West Mexico gets to invade prime regular Mexico, they will always take it. Now, they are not the only country joining in on this jumping of Mexico, as the gold team up here notices a prime opportunity for expansion as well. And well, they do exactly that. They too begin their own invasion of Mexico, quickly moving into these areas, like so, taking all of this and all of these parts over here. And they quickly do a mass spearhead to capture these three major cities right over here. Kind of taking all of this stuff like this, and then going up like this. And with both of these countries joining in on this war, we will essentially see the Mexicans completely collapse on all fronts, as they are not ready to fight a enemy that is superior to them, and then also an enemy that is pretty much coming from all sides. Also, not to mention, the reason the Aztecs are able to do this is because the Aztecs are using underhanded guerrilla tactics. The Aztecs do begin to threaten the capital, and eventually they seize the capital, causing the rest of the country to just kind of collapse over to the other forces. We will be seeing the Aztecs claim the last two major cities in the southern part, right down here, as their final push, and the rest of this will just kind of be claimed by the northern countries. Alrighty, let us go ahead and take a look at the new peace treaty of the Mexican War that will be happening in 3, 2, and 1. And alrighty, here we are back with the aftermath of the peace treaty of Mexico, where we see pretty much the Aztecs becoming the Mexicans, essentially, as they take most of their claimed territories down here, the Pacific Union getting all of this, the Gold Country getting this sliver over here, and then the Central Americans taking over these areas. Now, about 2 years after that war with the um, Mexicans, we do see the Aztecs go into yet another war with the Central Americans. Now, the Central Americans, not expecting this war coming from the Aztecs, considering they just worked together to take down Mexico, is fairly unexpected. And a lot of their troops, who were originally spread out before the Mexican War across the border, are now kind of all up here. A lot of them escape back down here to the main front line. And this is where the Central Americans, because the Central Americans are definitely going to have a bigger military and probably, I would say, a better military than the Aztecs, since they've been around a lot longer than the. Ooh, bless me. Sorry, I had to sneeze. They've been around a lot longer than the Aztecs, so we actually see them take back their major city right there and all of this land. But eventually, their advances come grinding to a halt, as there is yet another country that wants in on some more land. And well, that other country is in fact the Grand Colombia. The Grand Colombians have not really expanded, and all of their neighbors in South America are, in fact, their allies and their friends. So we will pretty much quickly be seeing the Grand Colombians essentially go ahead and end up alongside the Aztecs, jump the Central Americans, with them pretty much getting the entirety of the South, and the Aztecs getting pretty much the rest of Central America. Alrighty, let's look at the peace treaty in 3, 2, and 1. And alrighty, here we are with the Peace Treaty of Central America, with the Grand Colombians taking pretty much the entirety of the South, and the Aztecs taking pretty much all of the northern regions. About 3 years later, after that war, we will be seeing the Aztecs pretty much just continue their intense attack campaign, and they will kind of begin their invasion down in the small border that they share with the gold team right over here. And essentially, they begin their attack. Again, like I said, 3 years later, 3 years after the war with the Central Americans. And pretty much as soon as they reach this major city right about here, there is yet another country that decides to join in on this war. Well, two countries that decide to join in on this war. The first country is, of course, the green country right over here, who looks to expand and gain some more land. Just enlightening of the new threat that the Aztecs pose, because I do know North America has been fairly peaceful besides the Mexicans, the West Mexicans and Mexico fighting each other. Otherwise, it's been fairly peaceful with each other. But the Aztecs pose a threat to them and to their sovereignties with how expansionist they are being. And so the green country right over here begins their little invasion, like so. The Texans up here begin their invasion as well, pushing up to right here, taking these two major cities, like so. And of course, we cannot forget the Pacific Union, who also jump in on this war as they claim the rest of the gold team's country. Now, this peace treaty is going to be fairly simple with no real elaborate borders, as the Unionists will, of course, get all of their occupied territory. The Texans will get all of theirs. No, I did that the wrong way, I think. Did I? I think so. Yes, yes, I did. Okay. Okay. Like I said, the Pacific Union gets all of this. The Texans take all of their land right over here. The green team, of course, takes all of their land that they occupy, including the gold team's capital, right down here. And of course, the Aztecs, although they started the war, they get all of this right down here, which is honestly 3 more major cities, but not a lot compared to what they could have gotten if the other 3 countries did not join. Now, the Aztecs being a little sour and salty about the war and the fact that they didn't get the entire country, about 6 months after the war with the gold team, they declare war on the green team and pretty much just instantly push and take the gold team capital. And I mean, the green team is no match with their size. The Aztecs make several naval landings and even navally invade the capital, completely seizing the capital. And eventually, the entirety of the country falls over towards the Aztecs, causing the Aztecs to look something like this. Now, we'll be seeing the Aztecs do something that they haven't done before in their history, but in a modern world with modern equipment and modern ships, and also with the size that they are and the power that they have now, they can and they probably have the capabilities to do so. So, about 10 years after the war with the gold team and green team, the Aztecs kind of go in against the uh, Caribbean Empire as they begin naval invasions over in Jamaica, completely taking Jamaica. They make naval invasions in Cuba, right here, here, cutting Cuba in two at this point and completely taking this half. They take this, this, and this. Then they continue to make naval invasions and just kind of push up the coastline of Cuba until eventually they make it to right about there. They make landings in Haiti, uh, Puerto Rico, and just this general area until eventually they're able to take all of this right over here. And well, the Grand Colombians, not ones to pass up on a good land grab, also declare war, and they quickly just take over all of the remaining Caribbean Empire islands. Now, of course, this was a 10-year time jump, so the Aztecs, of course, had time to build up their navy and make their navy better, if they even still operate on navies, since it would probably right now be around the year 200 or the year 100, year 2100. Sorry, not year 2200. Since it would be around the year 2200, I wouldn't be surprised if there were, in fact, already like drop ships, like very early versions of a drop ship. But we will basically be seeing the Aztecs take all of the Caribbean areas, and of course, the capital for the Caribbean Empire will, of course, disappear. Now, they will be going in against their last target that is superiorly weaker than them, and that is Texas. The Unionist at the Unionist, the the Pacific Union at this point is focused on other things, so they won't be getting involved in this war. But a country that will be getting involved is, of course, America, right after the fall of the Texan capital. As soon as the Texan capital falls over to Aztec forces, and the Aztecs have pretty much pushed up to right about here, and they eventually stop pushing, the Americans will try and push into this area, but they won't get far as Aztec forces are constantly moving and they move quickly. And well, we will be seeing the Americans only get these areas, whereas the Aztecs will be getting the rest. So let's go ahead and look at the peace treaty since they will not be getting their occupied territories. And alrighty, here we are with the peace treaty of Texas, where we see Texas split with the Americans getting this side, and of course the Aztecs getting most of it. Now we will be jumping about 30 years into the future, allowing the Aztecs to kind of just build up their empire and just get stronger and stronger. And eventually, they will become a fairly strong powerhouse within America. And eventually, they try and take on one of the big dogs, that is America itself. Now, America has been around for a very long time. It's been around since the age of decolonization, World War III, World War IV, World War V. It's been around for quite a long time. Now, the Aztecs again begin to use their underhanded, undermined tactics, but over the 30 years, this was a 30-year plan in the process and in the making. And so we basically see throughout American cities across the entirety of the country, we see a bunch of Aztec rebels, which are basically civilians, they sent into the country to prepare and basically get ready to rebel against the American government when the time came. Now, all of these families were, of course, knowing the risk and knowing the fact that they will most likely die, but they were ready to lay their lives down for the sun god. Now, of course, all of these are not a proper Aztec military. These are all just rebel groups that are popping up sporadically throughout the country. Again, a lot of people migrated to make this plan even happen. Like, for example, we got some pockets over here in this area, got a pocket like down here in this area, and we got a pocket up here in this area, like so. And we even see the Aztec main military make some naval invasions down over here, like so, and take all of this area, like so, and pretty much take the entirety of Florida and then connect up with their main front. Now, the Americans are pretty much focusing on cleaning up their back lines, and the Aztecs are trying to make a beeline for the American capital. Just like so, taking all of this area like this and like this. But again, like I said, not all is bad for the Americans, as we do see them clean up this pocket, and this pocket. And we also see them do begin to push back the Aztecs' main military from the capital bit by bit, which honestly is even better for them because it is a higher chance that another country like the Union, like the Pacific Union, might join on their side against the Aztecs, seeing the Aztecs as a growing possible threat to their influence in North America. But unfortunately, that will only last for so long, as the three remaining rebel cells are able to connect up and create one major front line, as the Americans did have to redirect a lot of their forces up here, down there, to stop the capturing of the capital. Now, the Pink Country does eventually, towards the end of the war, get involved and begins to help and aid America, but at this point, America sees no point in continuing the war and continuing in just sacrificing lives to a war that does not need to go on any longer. So the Americans come to the table with the Aztecs for peace, and basically we'll be seeing the peace treaty go as such. And alrighty, here we are with the Peace Treaty of North America, with America being puppeted by the Aztecs, and also the Aztecs giving a little land over to the pink team, like so. And well, the Aztecs, realizing how big they are and how strong they are, take about 5 years before they decide to do a major, bold plan. And well, after 5 years, that bold plan is, well, attacking the pink team to make their American puppet a lot stronger. And well, they attack the pink team using their American puppet. And well, it's gonna go as follows. Their puppet begins an invasion of the pink team, begins to quickly take land from the pink team with the support, of course, from the Aztec Empire. And this is where the Unitarians and the Pacific Union kind of draw the line. As soon as the pink team's capital essentially falls over towards the Aztecs and the American puppet, we will essentially be seeing their we will essentially be seeing the Aztecs fall in about 5 seconds as Unitarian forces begin to flood into the pink team. They also do begin to cross the um, border over here, and the Unitarians on their own would probably be able to beat back the Aztecs, just not as easy as they're doing now, because I mean, this is a multi invasion from both the Unitarians, or a simultaneous invasion from both the Unitarians and, of course, the Pacific Union down here, who, as soon as war is declared, move quickly and pretty much sever the main land connection that the Aztecs have, looking something like so, and even going like this. The Americans, realizing that, hey, maybe we shouldn't be helping them, just switch sides. The Americans just switch sides and join up with the uh, Pacific Union forces and the Unitarians, essentially. And well, after that, the Aztecs realized that, hey, maybe this wasn't the bestest ideas to do. And well, they would be right. They would be right. As American troops and also Unitarian troops and Pink Team troops kind of push down into here, capturing all of um, this area. Eventually, the Americans and the Unitarians are able to meet in the south, creating this mass encirclement of Aztec troops right over here in this area. And well, they're able to kind of take this as a one united front. Now, of course, the Aztecs kind of were able to pull back quite a bit of their troops back into Mexico, back into their home area. So this front is not moving in the slightest. That is until a third country joins, a country that has been kind of very opportunistic, and that is, in fact, the Grand Colombians. They once again declare war on the Aztecs, who they have used to gain more land over time and just kind of grow stronger and stronger. And eventually, with that, the Aztecs will lose all of the Caribbean, and eventually they will push up to right about here. Now, the Aztecs will essentially sue for peace with all of the people they are at war with. let us get right into the peace treaty. And alrighty, here we are with the peace treaty of the North American Great War, where we see pretty much America kind of get split in three, with the Pacific Union taking most of this land down in the south, the pink team getting more land over here, and the Unitarians getting the rest. Now, if we scroll down over to Mexico, you will realize the Unitarians did get a bit more land. Mexico is back. The Aztecs are right here, reduced down to nothing. If you remember, back a long time ago, the Yucatan used to be an independent country before being attacked and absorbed into Mexico. So they are back. We have a new country popping up right here, and the Central Americans are back, and this is all of the land that the Grand Colombians took. I hope you guys enjoyed today's scenario and today's video. If you did, go beneath the video, hit the like button. If you didn't, you can hit the dislike button. It's up to you if you want to or not. If you enjoy the kind of content I upload and if you enjoy the kind of stuff I do, I suggest you hit the subscribe button and then hit that bell notification icon next to the subscribe button so that you can be notified anytime I upload a new video to my channel. I'm John's Mapping, or the Sultanate Empire, and I hope you beautiful ladies and gentlemen enjoy the rest of your day or